What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In case you don't know, I cover news, politics, anything like that. Pretty much mostly political news. I cover the stories and give my opinion. That's pretty much it. It's a Sunday, kind of a slow news day, but we got a very important news topic here because we have a very major election coming up and we need to secure this thing. And that's what this news story is all about. We're going to just get right into it. We're not going to mess around. All right, let's roll, y'all. Drop boxes have become key to election conspiracy theories. Two Democrats just fueled those claims. There is a lot of that, especially since 2020. But let's get into it, y'all. A woman approaches a drop box in the dark with what appears to be handfuls of ballots. At a different drop box, someone else is seen making multiple trips to insert ballots. At yet another, the same car stops on at least 3 separate occasions with different people stepping out and heading to the box. It's not a trailer for the latest conspiracy movie about rigged elections. Instead, the video footage has become central to a real-world controversy over potential fraud involving ballot drop boxes, a favorite target of right-wing conspiracy theorists since former President Donald Trump lost the election in 2020. Yeah, see, they just gotta throw that in there. The Donald Trump lost the election. Oh, these people are crazy, man. Why? I mean, why can't we say since, Hillary Clinton lost the election in 2016, or Carrie Lake lost the election in 2022. Their Trump derangement has no end, it seems like. Just insanity, you guys. The accusations of Dropbox fraud are not coming from those pushing fringe election claims or from skeptical Republicans who have long favored eliminating or severely restricting use of the boxes. They are being made by Democrats, 2 candidates vying for mayor in Connecticut's largest city in a heavily Democratic state that begun allowing drop boxes to be used during the COVID-19 pandemic. Republicans have seized on the spat, which now headed to a legal showdown that could result in a new election, to say it validates their concerns that drop boxes are ripe for fraud. Yes, that is a fact. These drop boxes are ripe for fraud. I'm not saying that they are gonna force fraud or there is any fraud, but the fact that you have a drop box that anybody can come up to and just drop whatever in there, that is very open for cheating, essentially, for fraud. But let's keep going. State Rep Doug Dubitzky, a Republican, evoked the widely debunked movie 2,000 Mules during a legislative debate over the controversy surrounding the Bridgeport mayor's race. That movie was not debunked. That was just showing evidence. They came to their own conclusions, sure, but that movie showed evidence of exactly how these drop boxes, ballot harvesting, all that is ripe for fraud, or it could easily be taken advantage of for fraud. One-sided, man, I'm telling you. How do we know that it's only Bridgeport, said Dubitzky, who represented an area of the state that has grown more conservative in the Trump era? In the Trump era. This exact same thing could be happening in every single municipality in the state. We should get rid of these boxes completely. On the surface, the controversy is a local matter. 2 candidates are accusing each other of fraud in a municipal election. But its ripple effects travel far beyond the city of 148,000 and could have implications for the elections next year across the country. Here we go. Trump, the frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination, has been doubling down on his lies about his loss in the 2020 election as he faces criminal charges related to attempts to overturn Democratic Joe Biden's win. You notice they put all this in highlights and parentheses and all that, and they got to make sure you know that Trump lost the election and also at the same time Joe Biden won the election. Yeah, they got to throw that out there. They cannot let their Trump derangement go unchecked, it seems like. Despite mounds of evidence showing the election was fair and accurate, a solid majority of Republicans still believe it was not. That is because of all the ballot harvesting, all the rule changes that happened They essentially suspended democracy for that election. I know that sounds like it might not make any sense, but it's the truth when you look into it. I don't know, several states, I know Pennsylvania to be one of the major ones. Texas sued Pennsylvania, if you don't know about that one, to be the major ones. They changed the election rules without the approval of their state Congress, essentially. The legislative body did not approve changes to legislation. That within itself is effed up really bad, and the entire election in that state should have been redone. But that's just my opinion. Among the many conspiracy theories that have fueled that belief on the right are those surrounding ballot drop boxes. News of the Bridgeport videos has spread through right-wing social media platforms and on far-right media, connecting the controversy to the 2020 stolen election claims. Users have promoted the investigation as evidence for the persistent false narratives about widespread fraud connected to ballot drop boxes. The videos and the fact that the claims are being pushed by two Democrat candidates threaten to further inflame criticism from the right that drop boxes are vehicles for election mischief. It's a perception that election officials have been fighting for 3 years. Yes, it's because they don't want people to think that there's a bunch of fraud going on, even when there is a bunch of fraud going on. Obviously, you don't want the citizens to think that. You want people to think that your elections are secure when everybody knows that they're not. There is fraud factually in every single election that we have. To what extent that fraud is unknown, because we can't catch all of it. Obviously, people are very smart. People know how to defraud the system. That's just a fact. I don't know why they're trying to claim otherwise. It risks making what is the exception the rule in some folks' minds, said David Levine, a former local election official in Idaho who is now a senior fellow with the German Marshall Fund's Alliance for Securing Democracy. It's well established that drop boxes themselves are very safe and secure. No, that's not well established. These drop boxes are not safe and secure. They can be safe and secure with the right protocols surrounding them, but as far as I'm concerned, they're not. That is one of the biggest vehicles for fraud, in my opinion. The videos have trickled out in the weeks since September 12th primary in the Bridgeport mayor's race between incumbent Joe Gammon and his challenger John Gomes, the city's former chief administrative officer. Gomes, who lost by 251 votes out of 8,173 cast, filed an election challenge a week later after a video appeared to show Gammon's supporter putting several envelopes into a drop box outside City Hall Annex in the early morning. Gammon, who has denied involvement, is pointing out another batch of videos posted online that appear to show Gomes supporting making multiple stops at other ballot drop boxes. Gomes has said he has spoken with those shown in the videos and have been told they were dropping off ballots for relatives. See, that's all you gotta do. I was just dropping off ballots for relatives. I was just dropping off these ballots from this nursing home. I was just doing this, blah, 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 blah. But how do we know these are verified voters? How do we know that those ballots are all correct? We don't know that. And we can never really know that. There's your proof. In Connecticut, voters using a drop box must return their completed ballot themselves or designate certain family members, police, local election officials, or a caregiver to do it for them. A judge will hear arguments in Gomes' legal challenge this coming Thursday, with testimony expected over several days. Gomes is asking the judge to declare him the winner or order a new primary election. The state has launched its own investigation. Some Republican lawmakers who have raised concerns about the security of drop boxes during the pandemic said that Bridgeport videos prove they were correct. And I would have to agree that they show evidence that they were correct, but they do not prove that they were correct. Those could have been valid ballots. They could have been completely valid, but we don't know. That's my issue. We don't know that. Paper ballots on election day, boom. That's how you do it. That's my opinion. No one can tell me that there are not people across this country, and certainly in the state, certainly in the last couple of weeks, that are not questioning the integrity of our elections. And I'm talking about people in both political parties, said State Senator Rob Sampson, the Senate's top Republican on the General Assembly's Government Elections and Administration Committee. This is not isolated to President Trump saying the election was stolen in 2020. Drop boxes are considered by many election officials to be safe and secure and have been used to varying degrees by states across the political spectrum with few problems. A survey by the Associated Press of state election officials across the United States found no case of fraud, vandalism, or theft related to drop boxes in the 2020 presidential election that could have affected the results. Right, exactly. They didn't find any. It just doesn't make any sense to me that if somebody can falsify money and get away with it, you can falsify ballots in an election to that same degree. That's just a fact. If you have a differing opinion, leave it in the comments and I will address it. In many cases, drop boxes are placed in locations where they can be monitored by election staff or security cameras. Local election officials typically have procedures to ensure the security of the ballots from the time that they are retrieved until the time they arrive at the election office. Yet the conspiracy theories and efforts to get rid of them persist. Since the 2020 election, 5 states have moved to ban ballot drop boxes, while 6 have moved to limit their availability, according to data collected by the Voting Rights Lab, which tracks voting-related legislation in the states and advocates for expanding voter access. It's not the ballot boxes that are the problem, said Sherry Quagmire, executive director of the voter advocacy group Common Cause in Connecticut. In this particular case, it seems like the problem is the leadership of campaigns that permit the kind of activity that has campaign staff who would put ballots in big envelopes and then stuff them into the box. Democrats who control the Connecticut legislature and all statewide offices have so far been successful in pushing back attempts to ban drop boxes while taking steps to address the controversy. They've also expressed shock over the videos, but urged Republicans to wait for the investigations to play out. The one question for today, and that's going to come up, is do you take a wrecking ball approach and ban everything for everybody else? House Speaker Matt Ritter, a Hartford Democrat, told reporters last month. Or do you try to use more of a scalpel approach in dealing with the situations that we all agree is serious? Yes, I say take a wrecking ball to that. It's impossible to have those ballot drop boxes be 100% accurate. Of course, saying that, it's impossible to have paper ballots counted on election day to be 100% accurate. But I tell you, people all across this country, and I imagine everybody could agree with me, that if you have paper ballots on election day, that would have a lot more confidence in the vote than having a box sitting there for a month or however long, just sitting there. Anybody can put anything into those boxes. And that's something that they're not bringing up in this. Sure, that box can be secure sitting there, but when you have people just coming in and bringing all these ballots from ballot harvesting, which is completely wrong, because they go to these like nursing homes and places like this and get these people to fill out their ballots and just they tell them who to vote for. Yeah, I mean, there was a New York Times piece done on this where they listed out how to win elections through doing this. And nobody else seems to be taking this into consideration with these drop boxes. It blows my mind that people consider these drop boxes secure and safe. I mean, you can say that, but how true is it really? And I think I'm going in circles now, just repeating myself, but I really don't care, because I'm just going to keep on talking until I get my point across. That these ballot drop boxes are not secure, they're not safe, and they have really cut the voter confidence in elections in this country, and they should be eliminated as soon as possible. Sorry. Well, I think I've rambled on long enough for that, y'all. Hey, look, don't forget to hit that like button, please. And if you're not subscribed, you know, think about subscribing. You know, you might like it. You might actually learn to love my face. You never know. But thanks for watching, y'all. And be positive. Peace.